Welcoming to the Plug Podcast for the very first time, Cole, Braden, Dylan, Wallows. Welcome, gentlemen.
Ooh, what's up?
I would say, welcome to my studio, but the good people at Atlantic have helped us out here. We're in a very fancy studio. It's like a weird, Hollywood reporter round table, that, Tom Hanks or Denzel Washington would be on.
I don't think we've really done, doing this style.
Yeah, the round table, I like it.
I do like it. It's very cool. How are you guys doing? As we record this, you've just done the first of 4 shows at Terminal 5 in New York. How are we feeling after night 1?
Energized. I feel good. I feel confident. I feel the show was just very already my favorite show we've played in New York, and one of the best of the tour, one of my favorites in general. So it was really amazing. It's just weird to think that we have literally 3 more of the same thing. But normally multiple nights tend to get better as they go. So we've only done 2 max, so we'll see by the night 3, 4 how easy it is to compare at that point.
Yeah, it's trippy.
We got another tonight, but
we had no clams last night. As in mistakes. I feel like we just played the show.
I did on a personal level. I was I'm going to do better the next nights. But I thought the show was great.
Well, my thing about that is just to talk about clams is basically my booster pedal for my guitar is right next to my tuner. And when you click your tuner, the sound goes off. And I always look like an idiot because on the big moments where I want to blast my guitar, I literally press my and I hit the tuner on accident.
Just silence.
So that happened once. Not gonna happen again.
The Radiohead moment.
Did you guys notice?
No. Just like a movie. No, I turned off my pedal.
I didn't notice.
Wait, on the break?
No.
But it's just you?
No, just when it first happens. I usually put on my booster pedal.
Oh, people probably don't even notice.
Silence.
I feel like maybe I have heard you do that most times.
Yeah, it's happened.
That's funny.
So I was going to say, you guys started this tour in April of this year, but when I came to the studio, some of the nice publicists here told me that there was an incident. How long ago was this? A week ago or a couple of shows ago where your opening act called in sick and you guys decided to go incognito as a non-existent band?
A band, yes.
That is half correct. Cole, do you want to explain?
So, yes, our opener, for reasons, had to cancel. It was just 1 show, right?
A couple, because Jordana filled in.
Oh, that's right.
It was
so,
3.
Yeah, so there were a few shows where the lovely Jordana just stayed on the tour. And then there was one night in Columbus where we had to sort of improvise. I randomly, during the break between the tour legs, decided to start learning how to DJ. I bought a shitty DJ
you're
controller.
about to say dance.
To learn how to dance. But obviously that was just me having fun alone, just making really stupid mashups in my room. But I brought the thing on tour. I'm like, oh, this will be fun. We can on off days or whatever, just mess around with shitty Super Smash Bros kind of mashups.
Sure.
So then he flew his friend out from Berlin.
We flew our friend out, Buffy the DJ Slayer, all the way from Berlin. Came all the way from Berlin. Yeah, all the way to Columbus for 1 show. And it was really fun.
Wait, so how quickly was this decision made of opening actors called in, can't make the show, let's do this?
Well, I think what's funny is when I had the DJ controller chilling in the bus, we had all kind of talked oh man, it'd be so funny if for some reason an opener couldn't do a show or 2 or whatever, and then you just DJ. We all kind of just DJ'd and did this thing. This was a couple weeks before this actually happened, and so then the days leading up to Columbus, our team was hey, we might have this situation. What do you got? How do you guys want to handle it? Do we go after this or that? And we were why don't we just why don't we just do the thing that we thought we might have to do,
Yeah, not that I manifested sickness onto Claire's spill tab, but I feel like I did manifest Cole doing a DJ set.
Yes. But yeah, the night before, we're making an Instagram account out at this bar and coming up with names, and our photographer who's on the road with us, Dylan Campbell, he mocked together posters on billboards around cities because we had to build the hype.
Sure.
Which nowadays I don't know what's real or fake anymore. So like it was just like this stupid marketing that we did.
It was very much so a highlight of the tour for sure.
How quickly did people in the crowd know that it was you guys?
Probably immediately.
Probably
knew immediately.
before it even started. They
Yeah.
were like, one of them. is
They
gonna-
didn't expect you to be in the road case though.
The videos are insane. He's pushed out in this friggin' like box, and then they reveal it, and there's smoke. It was like,
But the case is sitting there for like probably 3 to 5 minutes.
yeah,
for
Cole's just in there,
haze going outside.
and they're just like sweating.
yeah. We start
so
like an
fun.
intro song, and then the case just opens up.
It
and
was
Cole
unreal.
gets out of it.
It was unreal.
It was truly hilarious. We went for this like weirdly like goth vampire,
So
like
sick.
very hacked together vampire
Which is
energy.
funny because Buffy is not a vampire. If we're referencing Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
She slays vampires.
She slays
she
vampires.
slays vampires. But we just decided that Buffy the DJ Slayer is a vampire.
Yeah, which is sick. Yeah,
So
a vampire.
Buffy is a
after
vampire
DJs.
who slays DJs.
Pretty sick.
what
That's
were
really
you
sick.
playing?
Gosh, see what I learned about DJing in this process
You're
is
so
like,
inspired now.
so inspired. But the difficult thing is if you want to sound good through the speakers, right? You need to have like at least MP3s or like wave files of the songs. Like I could go YouTube to MP3 and like be downloading whatever I want, you know, but you're just not, it's just not going to sound good over the big PA. So I went on iTunes for the first time in 15 years or whatever and was buying songs for 99 cents like right before, and so it's definitely all over the place. One fun thing is like I have access to all the Wallows stems,
Sure.
so like I put like a Todd Terje song and then put like the Are You Bored Yet vocals on it, and it was like this shit mashup. And I a long time ago had remixed one of our songs like just for shits and giggles, you know, and then we like dropped that. And yeah, we played Dancing Queen,
Yeah.
all kinds of just, I don't know, just stuff that I could
How long
buy
was
on
the
iTunes.
set?
We did 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish
Yeah.
it could have gone longer.
I know.
And then what? You just like took your box off stage and then came back on as Wallows.
So we you know, I had the hood on, right? I got back into the box, and then our TM and lighting crew had this idea to like slay, like kill me. So they like made like a stake.
This is a performance piece.
I know. It was unreal. It was unreal.
Our crew stepped up
So much.
Yeah,
we-
I think like everyone was excited about sort of a break in the monotony, because you know, after doing even like 10-15 shows or whatever we had done at that point, you're like, oh, every day's kind of the same.
Yeah.
So that everyone was like, oh, something new, like we get to like
Yes.
build this weird like
So nice.
yeah. So I don't know.
Also,
Buffy, yeah.
a major shout out, like again, to Dylan Campbell, our photographer,
Yeah.
because not only for helping with the name and the designs and things like that, but like it was his idea to go to a costume store that day and buy the cloak and the cape and the hat and all that stuff.
Right.
That wasn't going to be a thing. Dylan really.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Dylan is the other
was
mastermind
inspired.
of Buffy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you at least come out to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer theme song?
Gosh,
Because that
we should
song
have.
hits.
That song
great
would have
song.
hit. I
Yeah.
mean, the intro was Genesis by Justice, like bum, 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 you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of
Sick.
that like spooky vibe, which funny enough is our sound guy, Cole Caraba. Every night when he tunes the PA, he uses that song. So it was like perfect.
Nice.
Like what better song to sound
Yeah,
good
yeah.
than that song, you know?
It's also that. What's the Weekend song he always plays?
Oh. I feel it coming, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same time.
That was good harmonies.
But yeah. Well.
But I mean, Cole, you did mention it. Like, obviously, you guys started this tour in April. You're scheduled to tour till January 2045.
Yes.
How has everything been? I mean, like, I don't want to talk about COVID or the pandemic at all, but how is it now, like, being on the road and being in each other's faces as much as you are? And really, for 2 years, you weren't allowed to even see each other.
Oh, I don't even know anymore.
It feels kind of just like back to normal. It is back to normal. But what I
Yeah.
mean by that is like it feels like that didn't happen in like my mind. Like when we're on tour and we're seeing everyone, it's just I finally it feels that way. Is what I'm saying. Like it finally feels like, oh yeah, we're back on tour. We're seeing people. We're meeting people. We're hanging out. We're playing shows. We're getting to perform these songs again. And I don't know. I feel very happy that that's the way it feels. Like, you know, there was definitely moments where, you know, you started seeing people, but it was still weird, or it was still like, what's going on? Or like you're playing shows with like everyone's wearing masks, or like low capacity, like 50%. it feels cool that it's back to normal, but it feels that way in a sense where like, you know, the world, you know, got it together or something, and it's like really cool. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy. It feels good to be back on tour. It's like the best, you know, and we missed it for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
And in hindsight, obviously, you guys released the album in March. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
But obviously, a lot of musicians I have on this podcast, it's an interesting question. I get so many different answers about the conversation you had probably around that April, May 2020 mark when you realized, oh, this COVID thing is not just a couple of months. We could be off for a while. You know, no touring. We can't, like, should we record an album? Like, Foo Fighters, for example, told me that, like, Dave Grohl was like, fuck it, let's do an album. The 1975 were like, they just released an album, and they were like, do we just stop, or fuck it, let's make another album? Mm-hmm. When COVID became a very real thing, what was the conversation like in this band? Did you guys say, let's keep writing, let's do a bunch of live streams, do we just stop talking for a year? What was the conversation like?
I mean, I remember having the song idea that I made a little demo tune. Cole recorded his own version, and I thought it sounded really sick. And then I randomly was like, it'd be so cool to release that. Like, we didn't see each other, whatever. Dylan took it a step farther and was like, we should make a project in quarantine, like an EP, that we don't see each other, and that was remote, that we put out in 2020. So the conversation was we wanted to just keep putting out music as much as we could. And that was a very interesting project, and something that I'm really stoked on, because some of those songs live are some of the best ones. And it's funny because those songs were never played live. It was just all like sending files and who's where and what. So I don't even know what that meant, but anyway, who's where and what is my DJ name. So yeah, no, it was our bit was just to stay busy, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys can talk more about that. But that was basically it.
Yeah, I feel like the initial thought I had was like, we should jump into album 2 because we only had one album out. But then, because in my mind, this pandemic thing, I was like, oh, this will probably be over in a couple months, and let's just get ready to come out of this summer and put out the album. And it was becoming apparent pretty quickly that was not going to be the case. So, yeah, that's how we like got segued into how about a. And then I also went crazy. I was like, why don't we do a mixtape? Like, bands don't do mixtapes. Let's do a project that's not an album, and like, we're not treating it like a proper record, but we record enough songs, like 9 songs or something, to put out remotely or whatever. But then we just ended up narrowing it down to an EP, which I'm glad we did. But the plan that year, though, was to put out a few singles throughout the year. And we had already had a plan to do Okay. We'd already started that plan with Okay, that song. And then a couple months later, we wanted the next one to be Nobody Gets Me Like You, which is on the remote EP, and we were going to do it with Ariel Rekscheid. Then pandemic happened and we couldn't record with him in person, but then we finished that remotely with him first. He kind of took the stems and we built it out together through phone calls and whatever. And then in our minds we were like, why don't we'll keep that in our pocket for later, whether it be for another album or for a single later on or whatever. But then once we had already started working on remote more with Sachi and John, our friends who recorded that with us, we were also like, oh, well, we actually technically finished Nobody Gets Me remotely as well. So then that's how that got on there. And yeah, we did have enough songs for, I guess, a quote unquote mixtapes, hence the world's first ever deluxe EP that we put out.
Remote deluxe.
Yeah, but it was really honestly fun though. Like, it was very it really took up a lot of our time, like, and brain power and energy, and I think it really helped us probably get through the pandemic, because we had so many shows planned in 2020. We had like just lots of it. We were excited about the singles we wanted to put out, and I'm happy that we got our creative kicks out that year, just because also, like, if we hadn't done it, our second album, Tell Me That It's Over, whatever it would have been called, would have been really, really, really different. And I'm curious what that alternate reality would have looked like. But I'm happy with how it all happened. I think it was meant to be the way that it was.
Different because you just recorded it completely different in isolation, you mean? Or just where you guys were at as far as musical tastes?
Well, yeah, I think that a couple of the songs wouldn't exist at all, probably, or at least yet, without doing remote. But also, a lot of the songs probably would have found their way onto the next album in a different way. Like, it just would have been a different album. And some of the songs that exist on Tell Me That It's Over, we probably wouldn't have come back to them written, because we would have had enough songs, and it just happened the way it did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, remote was sort of the palate cleanse.
yeah,
Like we got a lot of things off the plate, I feel like.
yeah, and it allowed us to feel really able and allowed to experiment. Like sonically, that project is. I mean, all of our projects sonically are very different from each other, but that one especially, just because we weren't physically never together in recording that.
Yeah.
So.
Every vocal is iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Sent to me, comped, sent to Sachi John. It's which is just hilarious that can happen.
We sort of made it in a, besides the iPhone thing, like I feel like a more pop or hip hop sort of way.
Right, like sending beats.
Yes.
Top line, send it back.
Producers
yeah.
send it back and give notes. Like it was fun. I love remote. I'm happy that we did that.
Could you guys play the Zoom game when it comes to writing and recording?
No.
No, we tried once.
And it was
Yeah.
And it was just a,
we just sat there for an hour.
yeah, we're just like, yeah, I'm going to get off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Until
Zoom.
it becomes like the technology becomes so next level that you can do it in real time. Even then, though, I don't think we would do that.
We eventually, though, after a few months, once we were like done with remote or wrapping it up, we like mixing or whatever, we finally started getting together again. Cole's house where we lived at the time, we our bubble sort of extended to each other, and like that was it. So we could always safely get together in Cole's place and start writing, because we started after remote. We're like, okay, now we need to keep writing more songs for whenever we're able to make this next album. So we did a lot of that as well. Eventually, by the end of 2020 and going into 2021.
And Braden, you mentioned normality. Well, it is normal now, thank God. You guys are playing, as we record this, you guys are playing Bonnaroo next week, the week after. You've got Reading Festival in the UK, which is like 100,000 people. You just did Coachella. I think you've got another one in Mexico in November.
Lollapalooza too.
Yeah, just a shitload of festivals, thousands of people back on stage. And maybe I'm just asking this because I'm a fanboy. I'm a couple of years older than you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Your previous band, you guys played Warped Tour in 2011. When you were 14?
14, 15, yeah.
Yeah.
It was only one show, one Warped Tour
Yeah,
show.
one
But
Warped
that's
Tour on
so
the back
what?
of a truck.
When I was
Yeah.
14, I worked at Blockbuster, which was is
That's-
the highlight of my life.
That's
That's
sick.
cool.
I love Blockbuster. What a
Yeah.
great place.
Yeah. But like playing Warped Tour when you're 14 years old, what was that experience like? Especially now that you guys are professionals, you're studs, you know what you're doing, you're on a world tour. When you look back at that time, as a bunch of 14-year-olds going on stage on one of the most iconic festivals, what was that experience like? When you're 14 years old, do you even comprehend what you're doing, or is this just a bit of fun?
I didn't comprehend that Warped Tour was a legendary thing. I for some reason, I just thought it was this like I never heard of it or something when I was younger. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I just never heard of Warped Tour. And I just, we won this Battle of the Bands that got us to play one show there. And I just remember being like, we're playing Warped Tour. There's going to be 1,000 million people watching us, and it's going to be the biggest life-changing thing. And there was 10 people, and it was like on the back of a semi-truck, and my guitar's so out of tune. One song, it's on the YouTube. You could find it's so we had a riff that was like bum 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 bum, right?
Yeah.
And the video's like bum bum dun bum bum bum, and I'm like, oh my.
Not only that, the way you were playing was like.
Oh,
So anyway, I just remember thinking it was gonna be this life-changing thing, and then we just played the show, and then we just kind of went home, and I was like, oh, that was fun. But no, it was.
I remember that day well.
I know, yeah, we were throwing rocks on the beach, and
Yeah, I remember all those pictures. That was when Instagram just became people
just
started
began.
using it. But I used to think it was just a photo editing thing because it had filters. So there's this one picture I can remember of us or me, and there's an Instagram
the orange
filter.
one, right?
The orange one, yeah. But it's just because I would never do that now, obviously. But it's,
But that was what was cool.
Yeah.
And that became at the time our band photo. That became the image.
This orange filter one, you mean?
yeah.
I think it may have had a little border around it
Yes,
too.
there was a border we thought was really cool.
That's what Instagram was. It was filters, a border,
borders.
and maybe a hashtag like magic.
Right.
It was nothing. You didn't say anything. It was just fun filters.
Yes.
And now,
It's kind of
Now
fun
it's a
filter.
monster.
Yeah, it's a beast.
And now it's an algorithm. Get those likes.
Coming up, tell me that It's Over only came out in March, but is there already a new Wallows record in the works? Dylan reveals all after the break. If you head over to Audio-Technica's website right now, you can pick up their new ATH CK S50 TW True Wireless in-ear headphones. These buds sound incredible with all types of music, they offer great noise cancelling, and have 20 hours of playback without even using the charging case. To get your hands on a pair, simply head on over to audiotechnica.com. Without getting too reflective or sentimental about it, now where you guys are at as a band, again, you're 3 months into a world tour. Where are you guys at as a band? The second album's come out. It's fucking awesome. I'm going to fanboy.
Oh, thank you.
Where do you guys sit with everything that's happened up to this point? What is next? I mean, obviously for the next year you're touring. Are we even thinking about new music? Are we just going to enjoy playing for a little bit longer?
Both. Yeah.
Right.
Are
you looking at your manager?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Andrew? Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Buckle up, my friend.
Exclusive.
No, we want to jump right into our next record. We're very much thinking about it. We know what we want it to, as of now, what we want it to be like, and we know that we're inspired and what we're inspired by. And I think just like musically, emotionally, everything, we're just feeling very inspired and ready to get into it as soon as we can. Like, because we do sort of have some time off this summer, and I think as much as we want to enjoy time off, like I think we see the benefit in having a couple months to try and just power through writing like new stuff, writing the new record, because we do have a lot of great ideas. So to help round out the batch of songs we have with new ones and pick the best ones from hopefully a big batch of songs. Like I think technically we could finish writing enough good songs right now to make a good record, but I think we want to honestly maybe even a great record. But I think we want to write at least like 10 more new ideas to get the ball really rolling. And yeah, I don't know. We want to rush it out. We want to do another one soon.
Ideally, like I mean, if in an ideal world, when would you like to get? You're looking at the manager again.
Ideal
world. When would you like to get this out?
Next year.
Dates be damned.
Whoa, next year.
Q1. We're getting corporate.
No, like summer, fall or something.
Okay.
Realistically, we literally no time to get
yeah.
out.
But again, because and correct me if I'm wrong, you're doing these US dates, then you're going to Europe in a couple of months. Then I think you come back for a few shows in the US. Then you go to Australia in November. Then you go to Mexico in late November. And then you might get a little Christmas break, and then you come back
Christmas
to the
break,
US.
then we do a big UK Europe tour in the winter.
Right.
There's some time off in the spring. Oh no, then other stuff that we haven't even announced, and then spring, and then other probably festivals and things, and it's nonstop.
Yeah.
And it's probably just going to continue to be nonstop. But I don't know. Like we have a lot of thoughts that we need to like. We should leave this room and go just tell the label after this what we want to do. But
Yeah, we are here.
we are here.
You are in
so
their studio, yeah.
I mean, like, I am inspired though. I feel like there's more and more. There's a lot of artists right now that are managing to put out records the year following the one before. It's so inspiring to me. Like, and we have so many good ideas. I'm feeling really inspired that I'm like, I'd love to strive and accomplish that.
Plus 1 to 2 is 3 years because of the circumstances. So
Yeah.
I feel like
It'd
sooner
feel
the
cool
better.
to just go
Yeah.
right into another.
How does the writing and recording work when you're on there? It's fucking hilarious. I had Metallica on the show, and they were like, so they play stadiums, and the day of the show, they have like a studio made for them backstage where they'll record and write. So they have a studio at the stadium, they record and write all day, then they play a stadium show. I don't know if you guys can get a studio in your backstage yet, but how will you work out the writing and recording when you're going to be so full-time on the road?
It's probably going to mainly be at home, realistically.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have a setup in the back thanks to Buffy the DJ Slayer.
Nice.
But,
Right. I mean, it's like a setup, you know, my like Rocket 5s like shoved into the corner of the back lounge.
So if need be, if we're feeling really, really creatively inspired, we could work some stuff out on the road, probably. But
Yeah, we'll bust. We'll like do some of that at soundcheck a little bit. It's like nice to be on stage and like, you know, our crew is so good that like we don't even really need to like go through the whole set or anything. So we have time to like, oh, let's just like start playing this part, and then like, hey, Blake, who plays bass, like, can you just play this? And then even just those little like 2-minute moments, I'm like, oh, I can visualize something new for that idea. You know, it kind of happens like very quickly. Shower thoughts, kind of. Yeah.
And I think too, like, it depends on how much we get done at home. Like if this summer we can write a bunch of music, we'll feel comfortable going on the road and just focusing on being on the road and having fun.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it just depends on how possible our goal is to accomplish. And I don't know. But we're gonna see. We could just be talking out of our ass. Our album 3 could come out in 2025. I don't know, but
You might have a meeting with the label after this, and they'll say, "Shut your fucking mouth. That's none of this is happening."
Yeah.
What happens with the other projects? I mean, like Braden and Dylan, obviously, you guys, your acting careers. It's so fucking cool to think about. Like, again, we Warped Tour in 2011. You guys released the debut album in 2019. Obviously, there was an EP before that as well. Juggling those two careers is no easy feat. Dylan, in your case, obviously, 13 Reasons Why blew up globally. Seasons 1, 2, 3 were 2017, 2018, 2019. Obviously, the debut Wallows album came out in 2019. Is that an easy feat to do? Is it something you like doing? Do you think
balancing?
Do you think one has to favor the other at some point? Again, given that the next year you'll be on the road.
We're all purely focusing on Wallows at the moment. Like, I think if you're gonna strive and do the best you can in something, you have to be putting your everything into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always just sort of have my focus on one thing at a time. I mean, and when I was doing the show, like, we were balancing so many Wallows things during it that I wasn't putting all of my attention into it. And that's when I was like, if I'm going to be doing this acting thing, like, I should be putting all of my attention into it. And I'm just at a time in my life right now where I'm not really ready to be doing that. I'm not as creatively inspired or fulfilled as I am in Wallows, because Wallows is, we're doing shit that we were dreaming of doing when we were 12. So it's, it is. So if you want to be great in both, I think it is tough to balance. I could probably balance more if I wanted to. I just don't want to. I just want to focus on this. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And Braden too. Like, also we both act, and I feel like we've just always been on the same page about it, really. Mm-hmm. But who knows? There's going to be a point in time where Wallows, I'm sure, take a break. Just like everyone does and should. And I feel like we'll all have things that we want to go and focus on for a moment and do something else. And it might be acting for me. I'm not sure, but the more time you take away from something, the more you'll miss it. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So maybe I don't know. I'm just going where my heart's taking me, really.
Yeah. And this is the cliche question of the podcast, so I do apologize. What is the secret to stay in a band for so long? Because everyone would be lying if they said they were still friends with all of their high school friends. You guys have managed to... Do you guys know Millencolin? Swedish punk band?
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they've been around for 30 years. And I remember I had them on the podcast 2 years ago. And it was the two founding members. And they've been a full group the whole time, 30 years, haven't changed. And I was like, what is the secret here? And they just said, we don't talk outside of touring and writing. Like, we'll write an album, we'll tour it, and then we do not talk for 2 to 3 years. I'm like,
Whoa.
How the
Crazy.
fuck does that work? Especially when you've been with these people for so long. Do you guys have a weird relationship where you can have downtime? Like, as far as just 3 guys hanging out, playing video games, whatever, how quickly does conversation turn to Wallows talk? Or can you just tune it the fuck out for a little bit?
That's interesting. I think when I was younger, I would always just want to talk about band stuff. So it was kind of we'd always hang out and have a great time. Like, it wasn't just that, but I feel even more recently, I love the idea of just going out and just not talking about the band. So yeah, no, we can definitely hang out and go have fun. And there's so many things in LA we love to do, and we have so many mutual friends. We're always hanging out. But I think we do naturally love talking about Wallows and the band all the time as well. So it doesn't feel like this weird work thing. I mean, I remember seeing the Ramones on a podcast, and they did not like each other at all. And the interviewer was like, "Joey, look at Johnny," and they just were not gonna look at him. They didn't even want to look at each other, sitting right next to each other.
It breaks my heart when you hear that stuff.
Crazy.
Hey, bands actively don't like each other.
Yeah, and you're just whoa.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that was really really crazy. But no, I think it's just kind of phases. You know what I mean? You just kind of you're just aware that you're always going to be around each other, and it's fine. It's
Yeah, you don't want to let
been
ourselves
our
get to a
friends
point where
forever.
we only associate each other with work. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Severance.
yeah.
Have you seen that show?
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we
Yeah.
just do that.
We just get severed on the tour bus, walk on.
yeah, that's actually so funny.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a secret. I think we all just really trust each other, and like we're not like we're working together. Like it's very like the three of us. Maybe because it's three, I think like each of us are a little bit different and kind of balance each other out. You know, like there's not too many personalities being juggled, but like there's enough so that it's like diversified. I don't know though. I don't really think about that. I think we're just kind of experiencing it.
That's the interesting thing with you guys as well, because you know your sound has changed, but you've all been on the same page, and it's kind of changed in a way that like is the perfect fit from the last project. Like you mentioned before with Remote, that sounded fucking awesome. Then going to tell me that it's over, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. So to be on the same page, I mean, maybe it's because you guys just have similar taste. One day you're going to want to do Buffy the DJ Slayer and just incorporate into all the Wallows music, and they'll say, fuck this, we're out.
That might have to do with trusting each other's instincts, because I feel like maybe like it's not like we're literally all on the same page at the exact same time. I think maybe one of us influenced the other into all these other things in a positive way or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe Cole presents this new kind of idea or like sonic palette that the band could, you know, or anyone, and then that's what kind of influences the way that we all kind of mind meld. But.
Yeah, and it's been so long. Like I feel like none of us are really like formally trained in music or anything. I follow this drum teacher dude on Instagram, just I don't know, my drum talk whatever. But he had some post. He's now playing with Weezer, and he's like, yeah, for those people out there, like there's certain things that you can never learn playing music by just practicing alone in your garage. Like you could become like the best speed metal drummer of all time totally by yourself, but there's a totally different kind of school of or like a totally different type of education that you get when you play with other human beings. Yeah. And I've never really played with anybody but them, you know? So then like since I was like 12. So I think we all kind of like learned from each other and showed each other music, and it was all just kind of very contained in that way.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
What was the band when you guys first got together where you're like, we want to be these guys? Because again, when you're 12 years old and you hear your favorite band, you're like, I want to be that guy. What was the band that drew you guys together?
Oh, I mean,
a lot of classic rock,
Yeah,
Beatles,
like
the Beatles,
first.
Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
and then like this Kings
Zeppelin
of
was
Leon.
really a huge
one
to start.
Yeah, that was.
Then Kings of Leon, like you were saying, was like the next.
I mean, our first
KOL.
band was like classic rock. Our
Yeah.
first songs we were like 13, 14 when we were
like
writing songs.
the
just
Jimi Hendrix
so-
experience.
Yeah, just so classic rock, which is sick.
Then we felt really cool when we started trying to make songs like Molly's Chambers by Kings of Leon or something.
Yeah.
Or Four Kicks.
Did that work out?
The Strokes was another huge one. What did you say?
Did that work out, doing songs like Kings of Leon?
You have to go back to the archive. We'll find all those songs one day. There's
so.
videos. There's videos of all those songs. We'll find
nice.
them.
Good.
We'll release them one day when we're 80.
All right, before we go, I do have to plug the Australian shows. You're playing in November. Have you guys been there before, either on Leisure or on tour?
Never.
Never.
We've
Never.
all never been, right?
Nope.
Wow.
Never.
And I love the idea of going to Australia. I love all the ideas of poisonous and venomous animals. Is that a correct? Is that overstated?
Everyone thinks that we live in a desert with kangaroos and like killer sharks and
That's
snakes.
like in the middle,
It's
right?
Yeah, it's like rural. It'd be like if I
Yes.
said like LA is Joshua Tree. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's beautiful. It's sunny. Beaches. It's similar to LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about we might like try and find a way to have a couple just extra days of no shit, just like be there for
Yeah.
enjoy it for.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go. That seems beautiful.
Yeah.
Waiting a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think almost all the shows are sold out, and I think one has just been upgraded to a bigger venue. So, congratulations.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, we're lucky ducks.
Hopefully by that
right.
time that they're all sold out, and either way though, they're gonna be just amazing.
Yeah.
They're gonna be great.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. And again, thank you to Atlantic for giving us this beautiful studio space. Guys, I will be seeing you personally at Terminal 5.
Let's go.
But, guys, can't wait to see you in New York and in Australia and in the rest of the world over the next 20 years. Jesus Christ. Guys, thank you so much again. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Appreciate it,
Thank you
man.
so much.